introduce you to Shab Hashtroudi, who I actually met in prison, and he became one of our dialogue roadmap facilitators, who put in over 700 hours of working with people in the prison who were struggling while serving his own sentence. But I'd love you to spend a minute or two just explaining, how that helped you and how that helped others.
Yeah, I mean, when you're inside, it's quite a secretive world. People, they don't know much about it. So it was interesting, and I've working with all these people. First of all, I was working in textile, so you're doing the same thing every day, and your brain, doesn't do much. You just have to do the same thing. And when I heard about DRM, I thought this is something that it's fantastic, and I think it's one of the best things I've ever heard. Because the prisoners, the inmates inside the prison, they do not trust the outside. So anybody comes from outside, psychiatrist, a doctor, or even an officer, forget it. They don't even want to know about them. If a psychiatrist puts them down and asks questions, and they don't open up because they think they're outsider. But what you've done with DRM as an insider, talking to the prisoners at the beginning, they're a bit dubious. When they find out, no, you're inside and you're doing a time, maybe 5 years, 6 years or whatever, then they start trusting you and they open up to you. So they just tell you everything about their life, about their childhood, if they've been abused, if they've had a bad sort of dad, or the mom was working like doing prostitutions, things like that. And then you realize this poor guy, he doesn't know anything better. And then once you work with them over a period, and these sessions we did, and then they turn around, they open up to you, and then once you let them know that this is not all your fault, it wasn't your fault. It was maybe your dad, your mom, or the society around you. When they understand that, then they think, oh, how am I going to get out of this? How can I become a normal person and function outside? And then once they find a way to come outside and do something, they read about it or they study about it, while they're inside, that what they can do outside. For example, become a carpenter, or become an electrician or something like that. And then they have something to go for. But when you release them with £40 and you send them and say, go and get a job, and they can't even get the insurance to drive a car, to become a driver, all that, it's for them is so difficult. And then the best thing is for them to do another criminal thing and come back, because they know exactly what they get when they're inside. They feel safe inside. It's just DRM helps them. And I did 700 hours of DRM sessions. And I think maybe even if I did a harmful amount of people, I'm grateful, because they really, you could see them, they've turned around and, they've come out of it. I mean, one or two, they were on a suicide sort of watch. And after about 10, 15 sessions, they changed their mind and they realized, hang on a minute, what am I doing then? And I think what you've created is out of this world. It's beautiful.
Well, it takes people like yourself who want to do that training, because, the training's not easy, is it? It
takes time, and there are times that it really affected us as well, and we were grateful that somebody came down. We can download to them, and the training takes a long time, but I think it really helps. And I think obviously when you're in prison, there's chaplainry, there's psychiatrists, and these. But from what I understand, the prisoners, they prefer DRM to all the others. They just call them down. I'm not interested. I had sessions with few that they went to see the psychiatrist once every 6 to 8 weeks, maybe 5 to 7 minutes, and they came out and said, "What I'm not going to use the bad language. Girl, she understands 7 minutes of my life. So they were downloading it to us. So it's and I think in the system, it would be helpful if this DRM was all over. It is difficult to obviously to train them, I understand. Because most of them, they don't want to, they want to do it, but then when they find it hard, they want to give up. But some, they love it, especially the ones that they've been there for a long time.
Yeah, thank you. So, so now you come out of prison, you've been out of prison a little while, then you have to kind of shake off the shackles of prison because it leaves a very big mark, doesn't it? You don't just come out and go, oh, look, isn't it wonderful? There's a adjustment period, isn't there? And so what's your reflection on life now? What's changed for you? What's different for you in your life?
My life is much quieter now. I mean, before it was hectic. I had having all that responsibility around and everything else. Now I've taken my life. I found that ego and having what do you call it? Things around you, a nice car, good holidays, expensive holidays, doesn't mean much to me anymore now. I rather have a conversation with somebody for half an hour over a cup of coffee. I enjoy that more, sort of thing. And I think I don't know how to say it. Say things that material doesn't mean anything to me anymore. So as long as you have a okay home and you've got enough to have proper food and this, I think I'm happy with that. And what I had before, I had no time to sit down and think to myself. I had no time. I didn't enjoy. I went on holiday, came back, I was on my phone when I was on holiday. That wasn't a holiday. But now when I go on holiday, I don't even have my phone with me. So it's changed me completely. I think once you strip it out, all the success and vanity and everything, and you become yourself. That's when you're happy. So I'm much happier now.